But I was in school that time, and I belong to a family where uh, dominance of English was considered to be a status symbol.
Yes.
My father did graduation when only 3% graduated this year from that district, Mughal district, which is now divided into four more districts, perhaps. So they consider that only two subjects are important. One is English and other is mathematics.
Mathematics.
So if you really qualify in English and mathematics, you are an educated. If you don't have, you are not educated. So I socialized in that context from my childhood. I was not allowed to enter into a school till class 5 because there was no good school in my district that time. So from private tuition, I prepared up to 50th standard, and first time I entered in class 5. Anyhow, in that social context, Karpoori Thakur did that kind of initiative. So that's a praiseworthy. I think I'm not in a position, I am the least aware person, least knowledgeable person so far that Karpoori Thakur is concerned. But thanks to the editor, that at least something I knew because of you.
Oh, great
Thank you.
theory, sir. Great theory.
Professor Trivedi, and follow that with Dr. Azhar. Yeah.
Well, Professor Bulbul, esteemed colleagues and dear students, since I have made a late entry as a speaker, I did not know till yesterday's afternoon that I have to speak. So I don't know from where to speak and where to end. I'll mainly pick up things already spoken and frame my framework of Karpoori Thakur. First and foremost, I would like to congratulate I, I would like to congratulate Mr. Santosh Singh for such a wonderful work. Karpoori Thakur is a politician not in an ordinary sense. He was epoch maker. And as Professor Aejaz Masih said, that he has a pride that he belongs to Bihar, not in the sense of a region, but in a sense of worldview. Bihar may be an economically underdeveloped state, but in the context of idea, I think few society, not Indian society, but few society can match. Many of the non-Biharis, they made their futures in Bihar. Madhuliman, he was not a Bihari, he was a Maharashtrian, but he was elected not once, twice from Bihar, made the member of parliament. George Fernandez, trade union leader, he was elected from Bihar. He was from Karnataka. So Bihar, it doesn't, it is not only a region. It includes a world view, and that world view is a view of humanity. And that world view, how that could be realized. I think you have referred education. Politics is in no way inferior to education. Politics has immense potentiality, particularly democratic politics. Karpoori Thakur, he realized that something that has not been done before independence or even after independence, that could be probably achieved through democratic politics. As Mr. Santosh Singh said, that Karpoori Thakur, despite being belonging to EBC, extremely backward caste, he never played victim card. He did not use politics as a tool of revenge. He wanted to use politics as a form of liberation, as a form of human liberation. You know, You reminded me, elimination of English, doing away with the necessity of English. It's a larger context. You know, in India, the hegemony, English hegemony was established by Macaulay, Lord Macaulay. He wanted to create Brown Sahib. Even after independence, he wanted that English culture should stay in India. That was resisted by many freedom fighters, Mahatma Phule, Savitri Phule. They presented a representation to Hunter Committee that there should be a Marathi medium school in Pune for girls. Gandhi, before the advent of Gandhi, national movement was not a mass movement. It was known as talking shop. English educated Congress leaders, they were talking, but they failed to make national movement a mass movement. Only Gandhi, when Gandhi came to India, he made it a mass movement. How? Because he emphasized the need of mother tongue. He emphasized the need of, he talked about Nai Talim. You have to engage people, local people in their own language, in their own culture. Because before the advent of Gandhi, situation was not favorable. People, the Congress leaders, they were not able to connect to the people. Their medium, their language, their gesture, everything was alien to Indian culture. Indian language. Language is a power. Language is power. And as long as leaders, Congress leaders, they use language as a power, they use language as a distinct personality, that they are different from others, different from the masses, they could not make it a mass movement. They could not make it effective. Only when Gandhi came and he radically turned the discourse. And he radically turned the discourse because he talked of Nai Talim, the necessity of Nai Talim. And only after that, Congress became a mass, Congress led a mass movement that finally come to fruition in 1947. Karpoori Thakur, he has already written in his book that Karpoori Thakur, he spent 26 months in jail during freedom struggle. He was a freedom fighter and he internalized varied ethos of freedom fight, you know, anti-colonial struggle. It is now considered a democratic political thought. Many scholars, they are working on that anti-colonial struggle is not merely a struggle. It is a site for democratic political thought. And Karpoori Thakur, he was man of the moment. He internalized many of the, not singular, but varied ethos of freedom struggle. And that is the background that made him to do away with English. English is no longer compulsory. The hegemony, the dominance created by language, that dominance he wanted to erase, and he succeeded. He succeeded, though people use pejorative terms that he has passed in Karpoori division. Karpoori division. But it did not make anything. So the point I want to make, because I'm not very systematic, just what I have heard, on that basis I'm expressing or I'm speaking or constructing the contribution or the persona, political persona of Karpoori Thakur. But what I feel, that if you want to understand Karpoori Thakur, then you have to understand Karpoori Thakur in a context. And what is that context? The context is a statist power, a modern statist power project. You know, he was antithesis to modern statist power project. You know, he was more in favor of popular sovereignty. Popular sovereignty was, every speaker, previous speakers, they were referring that people's power was the main focus of Karpoori Thakur's politics. He wanted to establish people's power. And before him, he had illustrious examples, Gandhi, Vinoba Bhave, Lohia, JP. They were the pioneers in initiating alternative politics, alternative to modern state power. And that was the ethos embodied by Karpoori Thakur. Karpoori Thakur, you know, I vividly remember, I had joined my graduation course in 1978. when Mungeri Lal committee report was implemented. You know, Mungeri Lal committee report is very, very important. Implementation of Mungeri Lal commission report, now it is felt by whole India. The contemporary relevance of Karpoori Thakur is strengthened by the facts. Supreme Court judgment on scheduled caste reservation. Masih, he is the cabinet minister and he is supporting Supreme Court judgment. Even the Chief Minister of Haryana supporting the judgment of Supreme Court. But those who are major beneficiaries of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes reservation, though they are opposing, they have also points. I'm not dismissing their disagreement with the Supreme Court judgment. But what Mr. Santosh Singh said, that Karpoori Thakur was more vertical as well as horizontal equality. The 26% reservation, 12% for EBC, extremely backward caste, and 8% for OBCs, and 3% women, 3% upper caste poor. Now it is known as EWS. So, and Nitish Kumar, Mr. Santosh Singh is absolutely right. He has implemented Karpoori Thakur in his spirit. His spirit has been, I remember when PRI institutions were introduced in India after 73rd constitutional amendment. Nitish Kumar was the first chief minister of Bihar. That is why I am saying Bihar represents a worldview, not a region. Nitish Kumar, he introduced 50% reservations for women in local self-governance in 2006. That was imitated by whole India in 2011. 2011 cabinet meeting. It was they understood this important policy interventions made by Nitish Kumar. 50% reservations for women in three-tier Panchayati Raj system. And now millions of women leaders at local level. This is nothing less than a revolutionary change, that millions of women leaders working, operating at the local level, grassroots level. And grassroots level is very, very important. Now, all centrally sponsored programs, they are implemented through grassroots governance. The Mukhia or Sarpanch, they only when they put their signature, money is reimbursed. Money is deposited in the name of the person who is working. So this is very, very important, 50% reservation. And Nitish Kumar also 12% reservation for EBC. What he has done, 20% reservation for EBC. Nitish Kumar belongs to a caste which is inconsequential, 3%. His caste is 3%. And how to, after his separation from Lalu, how to counter Lalu? His caste is almost 14%. And when he joins Muslims, MY, Muslim and Yadav, then it becomes formidable. So Nitish Kumar, it was a major challenge. His caste was only 3%. How to confront Lalu, the politics of Lalu? He had already ruled. That is why I am saying politics has a great possibility. Politics has a great possibility. Then Nitish Kumar thought that why not to implement legacy of Karpoori Thakur. And then he reserved 20% for EBC and 6% for 20% for EBC and 7% for others, 27% reservation. So the point I am making, that Karpoori Thakur, he represented a tradition. That tradition is antithesis to modernity. Modernity, if I am saying modernity, then I am saying modernity in the sense of centralization of power. Centralization of power, modernity, and the way planning began in India, top-down approach. It was Karpoori Thakur who reversed this process, that development should not be top-down, it should be bottom-up. And that is many university professors, many scholars, they have dwelt on this theme. I remember when I was doing my master, Department of Political Science, Professor Manoranjan Mohanty, he was head of department, and he invited Ashish Dandhi to speak. His book was released, his book was published, Intimate Enemy. And he made, particularly this is very relevant in the context of language. He says that we are criticizing British or we are criticizing English language or British culture, not because we hate them, but because we are not like them. We criticize them for that. So this spirit, the sense of pride, in your own culture, in your own language, that was that was made reality by Karpoori Thakur. The second important aspect, and recently James Scott, he died recently. He was a man who emphasized the need of locality. Locality must have its own utterances. Unless locality is strengthened, democracy cannot flourish. This was the position taken by James Scott. And Karpoori Thakur, long before James Scott talked about this, he wanted decentralization of power based on the principle of diversity. Karpoori Thakur was opposed to assimilation. He was in favor of integration. Assimilation, you use coercion for assimilation, for uniformity. He was not for that. He wanted that there should be democratic negotiation within a social whole.
So we'll kind of wind up also.
Yes, I'm just one minute. I just finish my understanding or reflection on Karpoori Thakur. So Karpoori Thakur is uh, somebody who laid an alternative politics. It is something that university scholars and professors should work on. We should follow those who are teaching in universities. They should follow the example set by Mr. Santosh Singh. There are many iconic political leaders. Karpoori Thakur is one of them. This is his birth centenary. He was born in 1924. So the whole India is celebrating birth centenary. He was awarded Bharat Ratna. Political reasons, it's true. That's a part. But the significance of Karpoori Thakur is very important. There is another iconic figure, Jagjeevan Ram. Nobody has worked. Jagjeevan Ram was Deputy Prime Minister of India, and he was a learned person. He has a political vision. But no university professors, no academics, they still do not think that Jagjeevan Ram needs a book. Jagjeevan Ram needs a research, though there is a college named after Jagjeevan Ram in Ara. But there are so many, and Karpoori Thakur is leading light. He has shown the beacon. And I request that university professors, teachers, they should also engage with, because Professor Bulbul, she talked about memory. It was a memory, going down memory lane, what Karpoori Thakur was and how he can be re-established, how his legacy can be made a reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We've got very illustrious people speak about it. We'll have our young colleague, Dr. Azhar, if you want to make quick points. I just find it a little ironic that we are all talking in English and being critical of the language. Also, I think Marx actually spoke about English language and as a medium, calling it the unconscious tool of history, which actually put the entire framework and a country and a nation together. So maybe we need to be a little more, realistic about how operational the language is. But yes, there is, that's notwithstanding the comments. Azhar, all yours.
Thank you, ma'am.
About 3 to 4 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be finishing. There's nothing left for me to discuss. A lot has already been discussed and analyzed by the very learned person. And thank you for the opportunity for being part of this the book discussion. I would also pick up few points and my sincere thanks to the author for bringing out this book and making us aware about a person and his political journey and what all he could offer to this young generation and particularly to the some guiding principle in the particular this particular time in terms of dealing with identity politics, right? So Karpoori Thakur, as I could gather from the presentations and as I could gather from my little research on him, his political journey, as a struggle for the social justice reflects his political acumenship, right? how he has able, despite being, coming from a community which constitute very little part of the state, and how he managed himself to bring himself as the center of the political center stage, right? So this book actually does the justice, right? Explaining his style of politics, explaining his, ability to take odd decisions in a complex situations such as going with the Johnson at a time when, and belonging to a political philosophy which oppose, openly to a right-wing politics, right? And his, experiences, right? His political journey also, reflects his personal struggle, personal struggles which, reflected in the public policy that he brought about. I just, share two stories about him. We hear a lot of stories about Karpoori Thakur. One is that how he has been humiliated at the later stage when he was offered, some money for buying a kurta, right? And similarly, there's also a story when, he was the first person in his village who got, passed in metric with the first division, right? And his father took him to the zamindar, right? Second division, thinking that he will be assisted by the zamindar, right? So hoping that he will be rewarded or he will be assisted, so he took him to the zamindar and said कि मेरा बेटा जो है वो मैट्रिक पास हुआ है. So how he responded the zamindar, वो सब ठीक है, गोड़ दबाओ. I mean, you can realize the impact on the human psychology, right? Up to a person who have hardly achieved something which is beyond imagination. So what guided him to remain to remain as such a person with humility, sincerity, whole life, right? And guided his strong position on socialistic principles. Perhaps this reflected. We try to understand, and I believe that after going through this book, right, this will further explore the nuances of his life, right? So I congratulate, and one more point, right? He's not the only person. He was the person or politician who believed in delivering, right? How he became a Jannayak, the hero of masses, right? There was Jamshedpur strike, right? And Jamshedpur strike where the Tata company, which was monopoly, having a monopoly, exploiting laborers, right? So he sat on the dharna for 28 days till that. So as a result of his dharna, the company was compelled to enhance the job security, enhance the wages and weekly holidays, right? So the Karpoori Thakur's the political struggle is filled with the concrete result, right? The kind of political stride which has delivered to the society. And this book is a very timely, right? We are in the midst of identity politics or the marginalization of the communities, right? Where this book can guide the contemporary politicians to adopt principles, approaches of the Karpoori Thakur. So I congratulate to the author to providing and contributing to this knowledge to the community, right? From where we can learn, we can move forward. So I'll just stop it here, and I hope that I'm sorry that we could not I could not go through this the whole book, but definitely your presentation and the subsequent discussion have created much curiosity to begin and end with this book and to learn about such a great personality, his contribution. I believe that he was so far remain as a hidden gem, right? You are the one who have brought him forth. Thank you. I'll just stop it here.
Thank you, Azhar. Anybody else has a question for our illustrious author here? Yes. Within 20 seconds.